For now, allow me to invite upon stage our special guest, the Honorable Minister for Women, Children and Senior Citizens, Honorable Mr. Nawal Kishore Shah Sudi, to kindly grace us on stage as our special guest. Please join me as I welcome up on stage Honorable Kamala Parajuli, the Chairperson of National Women Commission of Nepal. A privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to invite Honorable Pravesh Sharma, the Chairperson and Proceedings Commissioner, Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission, Fiji. Honorable Ms. Pravesh Sharma. A privilege to have Honorable Mr. Pravesh Sharma, the Chairperson and Proceedings Commissioner, Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission from Fiji. Honorable Mariam Mona, the President, Human Rights Commission of the Maldives. A pleasure indeed for us to have you up on stage, ma'am. Please join me as I invite upon stage Honorable Professor Rashid Hamad Humaid Al-Balushi, the Chairman, Oman Human Rights Commission. Equally pleased we are, ladies and gentlemen, to be graced by Honorable Mrs. Vijaya Bharati Sayani, Acting Chair, National Human Rights Commission of India. We will also be joined in by Honorable Dr. Lily Thapa, the Conference Convener from the National Human Rights Commission of Nepal. Please join me as I welcome on stage Ms. Kyoko Yokoshuka, the UNDP Nepal Resident Representative. Thank you, high dignitaries. Thank you for your invaluable presence here. Ladies and gentlemen, we also value the very, very important presence of the chairpersons and commissioners of the Constitutional Commission of Nepal, and also request them to kindly grace us in the very front seats. We also acknowledge the very invaluable presence of and extend the warmest of welcome to all our distinguished delegates from the 19 of the 26 APF countries. Indeed, it's a matter of great, great pleasure to have you all amidst us today. Our pleasure and privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to have been joined in by the secretaries of the Nepal government, also the high representatives of various bodies under the Nepal government. We deeply value and extend our warmest welcome to their excellencies, the ambassadors of friend nations to Nepal, also the high representatives of the diplomatic missions, as well as the development partners, especially the United Nations and our partners for today, UNDP, UNFPA, UN Women, of course, APF here. And also we are highly indebted and honored, as I said, by the distinguished presence of representatives from the Asia-Pacific Forum of National Human Rights Institutions, the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions, and representatives from the stakeholder community, the champions of gender equality as well as human rights, the representatives from civil society organizations, experts, advocates, media persons who have dedicated their careers to advancing human rights and gender equality. Your participation, distinguished guests, reflects the critical importance of our shared mission to promote and protect the rights of women and girls across the region. Distinguished dignitaries, the importance of this gathering cannot be overstated. In 2012, if I may recall, at the 11th International Conference of Gandhi, the Amman Declaration and Program of Action were adopted, promising to mainstream the human rights of women and girls throughout the strategic planning, policies, and programs of NHRIs. Over a decade later, this conference seeks to review our progress and set new pathways for the future. We thank you indeed very deeply for your very invaluable presence here and for your unwavering commitment to the cause. I am Shivani Thapa Bosnet, ladies and gentlemen, Senior News Editor with the National Broadcaster Nepal Television, and very, very much privileged to be standing in front of you with a very important responsibility of steering you through the very inaugural formalities. We await the arrival of our Right Honorable Chief Guest, that is the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, His Excellency Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli. We shall commence the major engagements right upon his arrival here amongst us. And the consent rendered by the Prime Minister amidst his very hectic national calls is certainly very encouraging for us, ladies and gentlemen, and it only adds impetus to our zeal. One more time, as we extend our bit of gratitude, this is requesting all of you to kindly be seated and kindly bear with us for a few moments until we receive our Right Honorable Prime Minister here. In the meantime, this is a request for all of you one more time to kindly check if your cellular devices are put in an inaudible mode. And this is a request that we are making to you for you to check that throughout the proceedings in here. Thank you one more time. I shall join you shortly. One small request, if you need the translation services from Nepali to English, we have the AIR devices available towards the end of the hall. You'll find a desk. That's where you can collect the AIR devices, and we request you all to kindly deposit it back upon use of the devices. Thank you so much.
Rights Commission of Nepal was established as an independent and autonomous institution as per the Paris Principles in the year 2000. During this time, the armed conflict was at its peak in Nepal. Therefore, at that time, the function of the Commission was focused on investigation and monitoring of human rights violations in the conflict-affected areas. This activism of the Commission somehow made the government and the rebellious forces accountable. Even after the comprehensive peace accord between the government and the rebel side on 21st of November 2006, the Commission has been investigating the incidents during the conflict era and monitoring the implementation of the comprehensive peace accord. From this, the Commission to some extent has succeeded in improving the political, economic, social and cultural rights of the citizens. Be it during the earthquake or other natural calamities and pandemics like the COVID-19 pandemic, the Commission is always committed to facilitate providing relief to the victims and protect their human rights.
It is a pleasure for me to join you today at this international conference, bringing together national human rights institutions and distinguished experts and guests from around the world to exchange learning and best practices on gender equality and fulfillment of women's rights. It is encouraging to see the high level of interest in this topic both in and outside Nepal, as reflected by the quality of the audience and guests today. As we meet today, only 15% of countries in the world are on track to achieve the gender equality by 2030. At the current rate, and here I'm talking about the global picture, it will take 300 years to end child marriage, with 1 in 5 young women are still married before the age of 18. We need 286 years to close gaps in legal protection and remove discriminatory laws. At this rate, we will also need another 140 years to achieve equal representation in leadership in workplace. The task before us is immense, and we really need to accelerate our efforts. But we also see some progress and reasons for hope. As an example, legislated gender quotas have shown their effectiveness to achieve gender equality in politics. Countries with quotas, such as Nepal, have 50% more representation of women than countries without the quotas. Of course, the progress should not stop here, and it is important to ensure that increased representation is indeed translated into the actual impact on law and policy making. Nepal is known for its progressive constitution, where the principles of inclusion and gender equality are very prominent. These principles are also reflected in major policies and plans of the government, including the 16th Development Plan. National human rights institutions have a critical role to play in the complex process of turning these principles, policies, and plans into reality. They combine the oversight role, also the advisory role to governments for the protection and promotion of human rights. They can drive more ambitious action on gender by reviewing laws and principles in line with national and international human rights standards. National human rights institutions also have a responsibility to lead by example. As mentioned in the Paris Principles, they need to demonstrate through their own operations how gender equality and other human rights can be promoted. National human rights institutions also play an instrumental role towards the implementation of treaty bodies' recommendations related to women and marginalized communities. I'm glad to see that all these instruments and functions of the national human rights institutions will be discussed at this conference. I hope that you will identify a solid set of best practices and guidelines which will help raise the level of ambitions of the national human rights institutions' contribution to the gender equality agenda. I also hope that this event will provide a platform to share experiences and learnings between countries and to establish networks and partnerships to further strengthen regional and global collaboration on protection and promotion of human rights. For us at the United Nations Development Programme, and I trust I can speak for other UN sister agencies, the realization of human rights for all is a foundation for all our work on the Sustainable Development Goals. Our pledge to leave no one behind reflects the fundamental human rights principles of non-discrimination and equality. For this reason, we are pleased to have a long-standing partnership with the National Human Rights Commission of Nepal, going back to its establishment. In addition to Nepal, I also know that in many countries, UNDP and other UN agencies also support the work of national human rights commissions. Together with agencies and other development partners, we look forward to continuing our close collaboration in support of the Commission's important work to protect and promote human rights for all, with a strong focus on gender equality and social inclusion. I'd like to thank the Commission for bringing us together today and to thank all of you for your commitment to bringing substantial changes in the lives of women and girls, and as well as marginalized groups. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your very invaluable inputs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor now for me to invite Honorable Kamala Parajuli, the chairperson of the National Women Commission, to address this esteemed gathering. As a leading advocate for rights of women in Nepal, Honorable Parajuli has been at the forefront of efforts to ensure gender equality and women empowerment.
Thank you so much. लैङ्गिक समावेशीकरण सम्बन्धी यस अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सम्मेलनमा नेपालको राजधानी काठमाडौँमा सेप्टेम्बर 3 देखि 5 सम्म हुन गइरहेको मानव अधिकार संस्थाहरूको NHRIs को लैङ्गिक समावेशीकरण सम्बन्धी यस अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सम्मेलनमा अध्यक्षता गरिरहनुभएका राष्ट्रिय मानव अधिकार आयोगका माननीय अध्यक्ष तपबहादुर मगरज्यू, मानव अधिकार र लैङ्गिक समावेशिताको सवाललाई विशेष महत्त्व दिएर यस सम्मेलनमा प्रमुख अतिथिको रूपमा गरिमामय उपस्थिति जनाई प्रमुख अतिथिको रूपमा आतिथ्यता ग्रहण गरिरहनुभएका सम्माननीय प्रधानमन्त्री केपी शर्मा ओलीज्यू, विशिष्ट अतिथिको आसन ग्रहण गरिरहनुभएका नेपाल सरकारका महिला, बालबालिका तथा ज्येष्ठ नागरिक मन्त्री नवल किशोर शाहज्यू, यस सम्मेलनमा उपस्थित हुनुभएको सबै संवैधानिक आयोगका माननीय अध्यक्षज्यूहरू, माननीय सदस्यज्यूहरू, ओमनको मानव अधिकार आयोगका माननीय अध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर रसिद हमाद हुमाइद अल्बालुसी, मालदिव्सको मानव अधिकार आयोगका माननीय अध्यक्ष मारियाम मुना, मित्र राष्ट्र भारतको राष्ट्रिय मानव अधिकार आयोगका माननीय कार्यवाहक अध्यक्ष मिसेस विजय भारती सायानी, यूएनडीपी नेपालका आवासीय प्रतिनिधि मिस क्योको योकोसुका, यस अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सम्मेलनमा सहभागी हुन विभिन्न मुलुकका मानव अधिकार संस्थाबाट प्रतिनिधित्व गरेर उपस्थित हुनुभएका सम्पूर्ण विदेशी पाहुनाहरू तथा देशभित्रका जनप्रतिनिधिहरू, नेपाल सरकारका उच्च पदस्थ कर्मचारीहरू, सुरक्षा निकायका प्रमुखहरू, विभिन्न क्षेत्रबाट प्रतिनिधित्व गर्नुभएका विशिष्ट व्यक्तित्वहरू, नागरिक समाजका व्यक्तित्वहरू, सञ्चारकर्मी, सम्पूर्ण महानुभावहरूमा म हार्दिक अभिवादन र शुभकामना व्यक्त गर्न चाहन्छु। नेपालको राष्ट्रिय मानवाधिकार आयोगको आयोजनामा आयोजित यस अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सम्मेलनको मुख्य उद्देश्य मानव अधिकारका सबै संस्था, संरचना र संयन्त्रभित्र लैङ्गिक समावेशिताको अवस्था र लैङ्गिक समावेशीकरण सम्बन्धी विविध सवालमा छलफल गर्ने रहेको छ र नेपालको सन्दर्भमा सन् 1990 को जनआन्दोलन पश्चात प्राप्त प्रजातन्त्र, नागरिक राजनैतिक अधिकारसँगै जनताको आर्थिक, सामाजिक, सांस्कृतिक अधिकारको सुनिश्चितता र समग्र मानव अधिकारको रक्षाको लागि नागरिक समाजको निकै ठुलो सङ्घर्ष र दबावबाट 2057 सालमा राष्ट्रिय मानव अधिकार आयोगको गठन भएको हो। त्यसै गरी सन् 1995 मा चीनको बेइजिङमा विश्वलाई महिलाको आँखाले हेरौँ भन्ने नारासहित सम्पन्न चौथो विश्व महिला सम्मेलनमा पारित सरोकारका 12वटा बुँदालाई हरेक राष्ट्रले सम्बोधन र कार्यान्वयन गर्ने क्रममा नेपालमा पनि महिला अधिकार र मानव अधिकार आन्दोलनमा भूमिका निर्वाह गरिरहेका महिलाहरू, राजनैतिक सामाजिक क्षेत्रका महिला तथा नागरिक समाज सहितको प्रयास र दबावले जनसङ्ख्याको आधा हिस्सा महिलाका विशेष सरोकारका सवाललाई सम्बोधन गर्दै महिला अधिकार र महिलाको मानव अधिकार सुनिश्चितताको लागि 2058 साल फागुन 23 गते राष्ट्रिय महिला आयोगको गठन भएको हो। हाल नेपालको संविधान 72 जारी भए पश्चात राज्यले सामाजिक समावेशितालाई ध्यान दिँदै राज्यको मूल प्रवाहमा समावेश हुन नसकेका जाति र समुदायको पहिचान र अधिकारलाई सम्बोधन गर्दै मानव अधिकार सम्बन्धी थप विभिन्न समावेशी आयोगहरूको समेत व्यवस्था भएको छ। यसै सन्दर्भमा यो अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सम्मेलनको आयोजना भइरहँदा हाम्रा मुलुकमा रहेका ती सबै मानव अधिकार संयन्त्रहरूमा लैङ्गिक सामाजिक समावेशिताको अवस्था कस्तो छ भन्ने बारेमा छलफल गर्दै ती सबै संरचनाहरूमा लैङ्गिक सामाजिक समावेशिता र त्यससँग जोडिएका सवालहरूको मूल प्रवाहीकरण हुनुपर्छ भन्ने पनि मान्यता हो। हाम्रा देशका सबै मानव अधिकार संयन्त्रहरू, एनएचआरआई, सबै मन्त्रालयहरू, विभाग, निकायहरू लगायत राज्यका सम्पूर्ण संरचनामा लैङ्गिक सामाजिक समावेशीकरणलाई ध्यान दिएर सरकारको लैङ्गिक समानता नीति 2077 अनुसार लैङ्गिक उत्तरदायी बजेट विनियोजन र प्रभावकारी कार्यान्वयन गराउन समेत आवश्यक छ। विश्वका धेरै विकसित मुलुकहरूसँग दाँजेर हेर्दा नेपालमा महिला अधिकार सुनिश्चितताको लागि राज्यले अवलम्बन गरेका संवैधानिक तथा राष्ट्रिय अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय कानुनी व्यवस्था र प्रतिबद्धताहरू निकै राम्रा र प्रगतिशील छन्। यो हाम्रो लागि सुखद पक्ष हो, तर संविधान ऐन कानुन र अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय प्रतिबद्धतामा भएका व्यवस्थाहरूको व्यवहारिक कार्यान्वयनको पक्ष भने अहिले निकै जटिल र चुनौतीपूर्ण रहेको छ। नेपालको सन्दर्भमा 51% महिलाको सवाललाई सम्बोधन गर्ने राज्यको संयन्त्र सङ्घीय सरकारको महिला बालबालिका तथा ज्येष्ठ नागरिक मन्त्रालय र राष्ट्रिय महिला आयोग मात्र हो, जसले देशभरिका मात्र होइन आप्रवासी महिलाका समस्यालाई समेत सम्बोधन गर्नुपर्ने दायित्व रहन्छ। सँगसँगै महिलाभित्रका विविध अन्तर्क्षेदीय इन्टरसेक्सनालिटी क्लस्टरलाई सवाललाई समेत पहिचान, सम्बोधन र सहजीकरण गर्नुपर्ने दायित्व छ। यी र यस्ता लैङ्गिक सामाजिक समावेशिताका सवाललाई अन्य मानव अधिकार संयन्त्रहरूले पनि त्यत्तिकै महत्त्वका साथ सम्बोधन नगरेको अवस्थामा राष्ट्रिय महिला आयोगले मात्र सम्बोधन गरेर महिलाको मानव अधिकारको सुनिश्चितता र लैङ्गिक सवालको मूल प्रवाहीकरण सम्भव हुँदैन। हामीलाई महिला मानव अधिकारको अवस्था सम्बन्धमा महिला उप हुने सबै किसिमका भेदभाव विरुद्ध महासन्धि सिडालाई र सिडा कमिटीले दिएका निष्कर्ष र सुझावको कार्यान्वयनको अवस्थाको अध्ययन, अनुगमन, सिफारिस र आवधिक प्रतिवेदन समेत पेश गर्ने दायित्व रहेको छ, जसअनुसार नेपालको एनएचआरआईको तर्फबाट राष्ट्रिय महिला आयोग र राष्ट्रिय मानव अधिकार आयोगबाट त्यसको तयारी भइरहेको छ। यसरी समग्रतामा माथि उल्लेख गरिए झैँ बाह्य रूपमा महिलाको सहभागिताको दृष्टिले राजनैतिक क्षेत्रमा राज्यका तीनै तहका संरचनामा सङ्ख्यात्मक हिसाबले 1/3 महिलाको उपस्थिति भइसकेको छ। विभिन्न पेशागत क्षेत्रमा पनि क्रमशः महिलाको उपस्थिति र प्रतिनिधित्व बढ्ने क्रममा छ, तर सारभूत रूपमा अझै पनि महिलाको सहभागिता, समानता, आत्मसम्मान र मानव अधिकारको सुनिश्चितता हुन सकेको छैन। अवसर र पहुँचबाट वञ्चितीकरणमा रहेका महिलाको जीवनस्तर निकै कष्टदायी अवस्थामा छ। विशेष गरी ग्रामीण, विपन्न, सीमान्तकृत, अपाङ्गता भएका बालिका, किशोरी, एकल र वृद्ध महिलाहरूको जीवन अझै पनि जोखिमयुक्त अवस्थामा रहेको छ। आधारभूत शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य, खानेपानी, जीवनोपयोगी सिप र आत्मनिर्भरताको अवसरबाट वञ्चित भएर परम्परागत कुसंस्कार र हानिकारक अभ्यासको कारण महिलाहरू हिंसा खप्न बाध्य छन्। बालविवाह, बहुविवाह, जबरजस्तीकरणी, यौनजन्य हिंसा, कथित बोक्सीको आरोपमा दुर्व्यवहार र मानसिक शारीरिक यातना जस्ता विषयहरू गम्भीर अपराधजन्य घटना हुन् र कानुनत दण्डनीय पनि हो। तर पनि हाम्रो समाज र बस्तीमा हरेक दिन सामान्य रूपमा यस्ता घटनाहरू घटिरहेका छन्। महिलाको मानव अधिकार हनन भइरहेको छ र नेपालमा मात्र होइन, सायद यो दक्षिण एसियाको साझा समस्या हो भन्ने लाग्छ। अत यी र यस्ता सवाललाई सम्बोधन गर्दै महिलाको न्यायमा पहुँच, महिला अधिकार, समानता र सशक्तिकरणको लागि महिलाको आर्थिक आत्मनिर्भरताको विषयलाई समेत राज्यले नीति, योजना र कार्यक्रम बनाएर प्रभावकारी कार्यान्वयनमा लैजानुपर्ने हुन्छ। एनएचआरआईको यो 3 दिने अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सम्मेलनमा यी सवालहरूमा पनि आफ्ना मुलुकका असल अभ्यास, चुनौती र भावी योजना बारेमा छलफल हुनेछ भन्ने विश्वास लिएको छु। अन्तमा यो गरिमामय समारोहमा नेपालको राष्ट्रिय महिला आयोगको तर्फबाट अध्यक्षको हैसियतले मन्तव्यको अवसरको लागि यस उद्घाटन समारोहको अध्यक्षता गरिरहनु भएको माननीय अध्यक्षज्यू, प्रमुख अतिथि सम्माननीय प्रधानमन्त्रीज्यू, विशिष्ट अतिथिज्यूहरू, सम्पूर्ण विदेशी पाहुनाहरू र अतिथिहरूमा आभारसहित सम्मेलन सफलताको लागि हार्दिक शुभकामना व्यक्त गर्दै मेरो मन्तव्य यहीँ अन्त्य गर्छु। धन्यवाद, नमस्कार।
Thank you indeed, Honorable Kamala Parajuli. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Chairperson of the National Women Commission, while extending solidarity to the objects of the convergence, shared the milestones and the efforts made by the various tiers in Nepal to build or set up infrastructure to add impetus to the goals that we bring into this hall, as well as she also shed light on the much needed policy inputs, intervention, with emphasis to implementation of all these, as well as also called for sensitivity, utter sensitivity, cooperation and coordination across all entities and sectors, and also stressed on cohesive action to reach the much aspired destination soon. Thank you one more time, the Honorable Chairperson of the National Women Commission. Said this, ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct privilege now to invite the Honorable Nawal Kishore Shah Suri, the Minister of Women, Children and Senior Citizen, to address us. His leadership in advancing policies and initiatives that promote inclusivity and equity is vital to the progress we seek through this conference.
मानव अधिकार आयोग को कार्यक्रम को अध्यक्षता गरिराख्नु भएका माननीय राष्ट्रिय अध्यक्ष ज्यू, प्रमुख अतिथि हाम्रा परम आदरणीय सम्माननीय प्रधानमन्त्री केपी शर्मा ओली ज्यू, मञ्चमा आसीन सम्पूर्ण डिग्निटिजहरू, यहाँ हलमा उपस्थित विदेशी पाहुनाहरू, विदेशबाट आउनुभएका पाहुनाहरू, हाम्रा सम्पूर्ण दाजु भाइ दिदी बहिनीहरू, मलाई धेरै कुरा भन्न थियो। त्यो हाम्रो कमलाजी र लिली थापाजी धेरै कुरा भनिसक्नु भएछ। म आफ्नो सरकारको तर्फबाट, आफ्नो मन्त्रालयको तर्फबाट हामीले यो कार्यक्रमलाई धेरै महत्त्व दिएको छु र महिला सशक्तिकरण, जस्तै हाम्रो मन्त्रालयको नाम नै हो महिला बाल बालिका ज्येष्ठ नागरिक, अनि हाम्रो प्रमुख एजेन्डा जो छ त्यो छ महिलाको अधिकारको, महिलाको जीवनशैलीको, महिलाको अपलिफ्ट उच्च स्तरमा कसरी पुगाउने। आज मैले धेरै कुरा लेखेर आएको थिएँ, तर हाम्रा प्रधानमन्त्रीजी यहाँ स्वयं हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँले धेरै कुरा यस सम्बन्धमा भन्नुहुन्छ। तर म के भन्छु भनेदेखि यो 21वीं शताब्दी महिलाको शताब्दी हो। पितृसत्तात्मक व्यवस्था बिस्तारै बिस्तारै खस्किँदै गइरहेछ, जान्छ पनि, र 21वीं शताब्दीमा मानवको बीचमा, माने महिला र पुरुषको बीचमा त्यो खाडल हुने अवस्था छैन। म हेर्दैन, धेरै कुरा म भन्दैन, तर जो मानव अधिकारको जुन प्रतिवेदन या महिला आयोगको जो प्रतिवेदन हुन्छ त्यसलाई हामीले गम्भीरतापूर्वक कार्यान्वयन गर्नको लागि जति क्षमता हाम्रो सरकारको, हाम्रो दात्री संस्थाहरूसँग पनि सम्पर्क गरेर, समन्वय गरेर हामी आफ्नो समस्यालाई निदान गर्ने र महिलाको स्तरलाई उकास्ने, उसलाई बराबरीको अवस्थामा ल्याउने हाम्रो प्रमुख दायित्व हो। आजको युगमा, यो 21वीं शताब्दीमा महिलालाई पछाडि गरेर पुरुष अगाडि जान सक्दैन। म एउटा उदाहरणले के भन्छु भनेदेखि युरोप अमेरिकामा किन प्रगति छ, किन उहाँहरू प्रगतिमान हुन्छ, हामी यो गरिबी रेखामा छु। यदि हामी तपाईँ ध्यानपूर्वक यदि यसको विश्लेषण गरौँ, यसको विषयमा सोचौँ, त हाम्रो देशमा के छ भनेदेखि पुरुष मात्रै केही काम गर्छ, महिलालाई खाना बनाउन मात्रै राखेको छ। त्यो अवस्था अब हुँदैन, किनभनेदेखि अब चेतना आइसकेको छ। महिला पुरुष मिलेर यदि काम गर्छ, यदि समाजमा समान अधिकार हुन्छ भनेदेखि हाम्रो देशबाट पनि गरिबी हट्छ। यस्तो भावना राखेर यस्तो जुन एकदम तपाईको यसको लागि कुनै एक्सपेरिमेन्टको आवश्यकता छैन, यो एउटा स्वयं सिद्धि कुरा हो। हामी दुईजना महिला र पुरुष यदि देशको काममा आफ्नो कर्तव्यमा लाग्छु भनेदेखि निश्चय हामी पनि अगाडि बढ्छु। यही म आफ्नो समय यहाँ कुरा भएको थियो, समयको अभाव छ, मलाई त एकदमै समयको अभाव छ। अहिले एउटा विदेशी योसँग हाम्रो इन्टरभ्यू छ, त्यसकारणले आफ्नो समय पनि म प्रधानमन्त्रीज्यूलाई नै दिँदै आफ्नो म यति मात्रै मानव अधिकारको र महिला आयोगको जो प्रतिवेदन हुन्छ त्यसमा हाम्रो सरकार, मेरो मन्त्रालय पूर्ण रूपमा क्रियाशील गर्ने प्रयास गर्छु। यति भनेर म आफ्नो शब्दलाई यहीं विराम दिन चाहन्छु। धन्यवाद।
Thank you indeed, Honorable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister shared that this is an era of women and that patriarchy will gradually fade away and that the process is already in progress. He also pledged to consider the Kathmandu Declaration adopted by this forum towards the end of this conference will be considered by his ministry with utmost sensitivity and pledge to do the best from their or our capabilities. In essence, he said that women participation and representation is fundamental for development and prosperity. Also saying that since the head of the government himself is present here in this audience, he said that he deemed it appropriate that the head of the government would make the rest of the statements. Thank you one more time to the Honorable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, indeed we stand at a crossroads with the opportunity to redefine the way the NHRIs incorporate the gender perspectives, both internally and externally. Having all these stalwarts from policy leaders to human rights champions under one roof certainly adds a lot of hope for us to spearhead this momentum which is already picked up. That's a belief we hold dear to our heart. And now it is my great honor, ladies and gentlemen, to one more time introduce and make a humble request to our chief guest of the day, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, His Excellency Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli, a visionary leader whose commitment to human rights and gender equality has been instrumental in shaping the policy landscape of Nepal. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in making a humble request to the Right Honorable Prime Minister to address this esteemed and distinguished gathering.
Chairman of the Honorable Chairperson of National Human Rights Commission of Nepal, Mr. Thub Bahadur Magarju, Honorable Minister for Women, Children and Senior Citizens, distinguished guests on the dais and over there, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to address this program as a chief guest, and I am happy to be a part of this international conference on gender inclusion within NHRIS, being organized by the National Human Rights Commission of Nepal. It gives me a great pleasure to address international and national audience, which has gathered to participate in this conference of universal importance and contemporary relevance. In Nepal, we have made a great progress in the field of gender equality, social equality, and justice, and other so many areas. We had caste system in the past in our country, and there were discriminations on the basis of that caste system. But now we have abolished that caste system through the constitution, through the laws, and in the practice as well. There was, of course, discrimination between men and women in the past. But now we have made a great achievement in this field also. Now, before the promulgation of the Constitution, we are talking about the Constitution, but not only the contribution of the Constitution, but before the promulgation of the Constitution in 2006, our restored Parliament had declared that issued and passed one proposal providing 33% participation of women in the Parliament and in other jobs as well. So now, it is not the previous time. Now, we have 33% in the central parliament or in the provincial assemblies. 33%. That's not a small achievement. And more than 40% in the local bodies. We have 753 local bodies, and there is more than 40% participation of women. And in the field of entrepreneurship and others, and in government jobs and other responsible positions. Before this, we had Lady President, we had Lady Chief Justice, we had Speaker of the House of Representatives, a lady, and just Chief Secretary, Cabinet Secretary is just retired. She was a lady. And in very important and key posts, ladies are holding, and they are conducting, and they are fulfilling the job very profoundly. This is the situation. Today, our commitment to eradicate, abolish all sorts of, all types of injustice, inequality, exploitation, and discrimination is our commitment. And we are working for that. But we have to understand that more than 20% of the population is still facing the below poverty line situation. They are facing very hard life. That is very critical. And without abolishing that poverty, we cannot fulfill our desire of equality because some people are not getting appropriate food, shelter, cloth, education and health, etc. Fundamental rights also. In our constitution, we have mentioned 31 articles are dedicated for fundamental human rights. And we are trying to, by letter and spirit, to implement those articles of the Constitution, because they are not just to show in the pages or in the points of articles of the Constitution. We have not to show anything. We have to do, we have to materialize those things, those articles, which ourselves we did. After the restoration of the Parliament in 1991, Human Rights Commission was formed. And some 23 years before, Women Commission was formed. And sorry, we are, no, it जरूरी थी ना, तैवन ले आने ठीक है. We are committed to fulfill our international obligations, commitments, and those commitments which are today making here. We have set our goal as prosperous Nepal and happy Nepali. Prosperous Nepal and happy Nepali. Without prosperity, we cannot make our people happy. And we want to modernize our society. That is not in the field, alone in the field of economy and politics, but social behavior and social, like a social system. We want to modernize, really modernize our society, not backward in thinking, in practice, everywhere. Paris Agreement, I would like to reiterate here again that we not only support, but we will work to strengthen and foster the Paris Agreement and other international convocations, conventions and treaties as well. We are working together with the Human Rights. On behalf of the government, I am talking that we are working together with the Human Rights Commission and we will work. The goal is common. Today, I am happy that all the people gathered here from different countries have same goal to eradicate poverty, discrimination and all other inhuman, unsocial types of things, and establish social justice and equality. For that we need prosperity, peace. Nobody should feel any type of threat. Only prosperity doesn't work. But there must be a situation where people feel secure. They feel that they have dignified life. So, dignified life with prosperity, with right and opportunity, with security, provides the people happiness. So we have set our goal as prosperous Nepal and happy Nepal. Human rights issues and issues of gender equality and other social equality and social justice are incorporated in this goal and aim. I wish the great success of this conference, and I believe that exchanges about our opinions and interference from different participants and delegates will contribute a lot to deepen understanding and to create more effective ideas for the further steps which we have to take in the days ahead. With these words, I would like to thank you very much, National Human Rights Commission of Nepal, for organizing this very timely international organization on the questions of inclusiveness and gender equality, etc. I wish all foreign delegates, your stay here in Nepal would be a good one, pleasant one, and you will be back taking a good memory of Nepal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli. Thank you for your very, very invaluable insights, for your great leadership and the utter sensitivity, which is a great boost, a great impetus to the efforts that are here already in progress. And we're very much optimistic that your visionary leadership and zealous spirit will help Nepal achieve the desired. Also, our deep felt thank you to the Right Honourable Prime Minister for rendering the optimism and encouragement for the organization of this convergence here in Nepal. Thank you one more time. Said that, ladies and gentlemen, we now arrive to almost the end of the inaugural session. And now for the very closing remarks, with the vote of thanks, I have the privilege of inviting to the podium the chair of the inaugural session, the chairperson of NHRC Nepal, Honorable Justice Tok Bahadur Magar.
Right Honourable Prime Minister of Nepal, K.P. Sharma Oliju, Chief Guest. Honourable Minister Nawal Kishore Shah, Minister of Women, Children and Senior Citizen, Special Guest. Honourable Kamal Paraju, Chairperson, National Human Rights Commission, National Women's Commission. Honourable Prakash Sharma, Chairperson, Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission, Fiji. Honorable Mariam Munna, President, Human Rights Commission of Maldives. Honorable Professor Rashid Ahmad Hamid Al-Bushi, Chairperson, Oman Human Rights Commission. Honorable Mrs. Vijaya Bharati Shahani, Acting Chair, National Human Rights Commission, India. Mr. Koito Yokoshika, UNDP, Nepal, Resident Representative. Distinguished delegates, distinguished guests, excellencies, civil society and media personnel, ladies and gentlemen. It is my immense pleasure to welcome all the distinguished chairpersons and commissioners from National Human Rights Institutions of Asia-Pacific region. Heads and representatives from government organizations, diplomatic missions, UN agencies, Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Asia-Pacific Forum of NSRIs, civil society experts, scholars, and media representatives of this international conference on gender inclusion in Nepal human rights institutions. The participation of so many esteemed guests from across the region underscores the vital importance we all place on advancing gender equality in our societies. We are gathered here with a common aim to reflect on our journey toward gender equality and chart a path forward that ensures the right of all individuals are respected and upheld. This conference, at a time when the challenges we face are both persistent and evolving. We all are impacted by the climate crisis, disproportionately, particularly the women and girls in the marginalized communities all over the world. Right Honorable Prime Minister and distinguished delegates. The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women is an international legal instrument that requires countries to eliminate discriminations against women and girls in all areas and promotes women's and girls' equal rights. 12 years ago, at the 11th International Conference of the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions held in Jordan, NSRIs adopted the Amman Declaration, which called the NSRIs to prioritize the human rights of women and girls in every aspect of their work. As we assess the progress, we must acknowledge the achievement made, but also confront the great challenges that remain. Gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but also a cornerstone of just, inclusive, and prosperous societies. The Paris Principles, which is the backbone of our institutional framework, emphasize pluralism and representation. However, they fall short in explicitly addressing gender equality, leading to uneven progresses. The absence of specific guidance on gender within the Paris Principle is a gap we must urgently address. But the Subcommittee on Accreditation further emphasizes that the principles of pluralism includes ensuring the meaningful participation of women in the national institutions. The conference presents a critical opportunity to refine our approaches, ensuring that gender inclusion is embedded with the core of our institutions' operation and ethos. The empowerment of women and girls living in rural areas has become an increasing concern of the international community. The 1995 Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action mentions economic underdevelopment, poverty, social marginalization, and environmental health hazards amongst the barriers that particularly affect women and girls in rural areas. NSRIs have a pivotal role in integrating gender perspectives into all aspects of their work, whether it be through legislative review, human rights education, or engagement with international bodies. The development of human rights indicators that promote gender equality and the advocacy of comprehensive national gender strategies are just some of the ways we can ensure our works translate into tangible outcomes for women and girls. NSRC Nepal conducted a comprehensive JC audit in 2021 to assess the extent to which gender is considered across its functions. The commissions made amendments in the gender equality and social inclusion policy formulated in 2021, in accordance with the JC audit, which provides guidance to integrate gender equality within its organizational structure, other policy formulation process, program development, budget allocation, and program implementation. Through this, the Commission can enhance its efforts for eliminating all kinds of discrimination, including all forms of harmful practices against women and girls. Subcommittee on Accreditation of GANGRI during the October session of 2023 reviewed NHRC Nepal and was maintained its A status accreditation. We have also recently sent the proposed NHRC Act to the government of Nepal to table it in the parliament by addressing the SCA recommendation and demonstrating Paris Principles compliance. The existence of independent NSRIs is compliance with the Paris Principle is a global indicator of the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals 16. As we navigate the complexities of our global challenges, it is imperative that we do so with a gender lens. Climate exchange, for example, is not just an environmental issue, it is a gender issue too. Women and girls disproportionately bear the burden of climate-induced hardship, from food insecurity to displacement. A report launched at COP28 by UN Women indicating that by 2050, climate change could push millions more women and girls into poverty, are alarming and demand our urgent action. Therefore, we must advocate for climate justice with the same vigor as we do for gender equality, recognizing that these issues are deeply intertwined. Advancing Sustainable Development Goals is decisive for promoting gender equality. NSRIs must recognize that gender equality is not just a standalone goal, but a cross-cutting issue that impacts all aspects of sustainable development. This rights-based approach ensures that women and girls have equal access to education, healthcare, economic opportunity, and decision-making process. NSRIs should advocate for gender-responsive policies, collect sex disaggregated data, and hold government accountable for their commitment to gender equality across all sustainable development goals. By doing so, we can create a more equitable world where individuals' human rights are respected and fulfilled regardless of gender. NSRIs must champion a right-based approach to climate action as a powerful agent of change. This involves ensuring women's meaningful participation in climate decision-making process, promoting gender-responsive climate policies, and addressing the specific vulnerabilities and needs of women in climate adaptation and migration strategies and mitigation strategies. States should integrate a gender perspective into national policies on climate change in the line of the SHIDA Committee's General Recommendation No. 37, that is 2018, on the gender-related dimensions of disaster risk reduction in the context of climate change. Our discussion over the next 3 days will culminate in Kathmandu Declaration, a document that I hope will serve as a transformative roadmap for implementing gender mainstreaming strategies and action with NSRIs. This declaration will reinforce our commitment to gender inclusion by advocating for bold and proactive measures, also acting as a guiding framework to address our challenges. Distinguished delegates, I encourage each of you to bring forward your experiences, challenges, and solutions in our discourse. Let us foster a collaborative spirit that transcends borders and institutions, recognizing that our collective efforts are crucial in advancing gender equality on a global scale. Finally, may I take this opportunity to extend my deepest gratitude to our chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, K.P. Sharma Oliju, for your inspiring words and gracing us with your presence today. Right Honorable's commitment to gender inclusion and equality in Nepal is truly commendable, and we deeply appreciate your continued support and encouragement. A sincere and special appreciation to the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Global Alliance of NSRIs, and Asia Pacific Forum of NSRIs for their invaluable collaboration with the National Human Rights Commission, Nepal, on this ongoing international conference. This esteemed organization's support has been wonderful in driving the success of this important event. Similarly, I would like to express my profound gratitude to the Honorable Chairperson, Commissioners, and representatives of NSRIs from various nations. We are equally thankful to the Government of Nepal and UNDP, UNFPA, and UN Women for the necessary support for the conference. My cordial thanks to all the distinguished guests present here today for your dedication, expertise, and unwavering commitment to this vital event. Together we can make gender inclusion not just an aspiration, but a reality for all. Thank you for all. With this, I declare the end of this inaugural session.